This Asus ZenBook 3 Deluxe UX490 UA is half a pound lighter than a MacBook Pro 13-inch, 2mm thinner, and has 50% more power. Now this has actually been out from say midway through last year, but now you have the option of the 8th generation i7, which means quad core parts, up to 50% more power than the dual core parts. And I recommend if you buy this ZenBook 3 Deluxe, you definitely get the one with the 8th generation CPUs, unless you can get a deal on the 7th generation version and you don't have like heavy duty requirements of your 13 or 14-inch laptop. So this actually is a 14-inch, so it's even a bigger display than a MacBook Pro. It's actually quite amazing when you think about it, because the MacBook Pro is even more expensive. So I have a lot of awesome content coming soon, so make sure you subscribe and give me a thumbs up there. First of all, the build quality is superb, as you would expect with Asus. Beautiful finish on it. This is royal blue, it has that signature swirl on the lid. Fantastic build quality, top drawer, looks expensive. You'll be really happy with that. I would compare this to say the MacBook Pro 13-inch and the XPS 13 in terms of laptops. Even though this is a 14-inch, those laptops are 13.3-inch displays. This is a 14-inch. It's 12.9mm thick, 1.1 kilos or 2.42 pounds, whereas the Mac is like 3 pounds. So it's over 200 grams lighter than a MacBook Pro 13-inch. That's like the weight of a full, like big size block of chocolate. You will notice that. That's a big difference. Of course, when you go this thin and light, you have to sacrifice on some things. So the battery is a little bit smaller, and also on the port size, you cannot fit the full size USBs and SD card slots and that. So on the left hand side, you have a headphone jack and a USB-C port. On the right hand side, you have two Thunderbolt 3 ports over USB-C. Now there's no micro SD, there's no USB type A. You do, however, get included dongles. So you get a USB-C to HDMI, and you also get a USB-C to USB-A adapter. So they include that in the box. So that's fantastic. Now the sound is really good on this laptop too. Harman & Kardon tuned speakers, up there with the best speakers you're going to get on this size laptop. Really good, nice, full, rich sound. The keyboard and trackpad, I do like the keyboard. It is very nice. It is a little shallow, as all these sort of UltraBooks have. In saying that though, it has nice feedback. I don't really bottom out too much on it. It's not as jarring as the MacBook Pro keyboard, but with these keyboards, it's something you want to try out. The trackpad is equally as good. It is really good trackpad. Gestures work well. It's a nice smooth surface. It wouldn't be the best trackpad I've seen, like the MacBook Pro has a much better trackpad than this, but for Windows laptops, it is a really good trackpad. It feels a little bit vague is my only little criticism, and you can tune that, I guess, in the settings. Now this comes with a full HD non-touch display, so that's one thing. It's non-touch, 100% sRGB. It's bright, it's vivid, it's crisp, great viewing angles, a really cracking display. You'll really enjoy it. So if you want a touch display, well, this isn't for you, and it's 14 inches. So, you know, comparing it to the XPS 13 and MacBook Pro, it is a larger display, and you can notice it. It also has thin bezels, and it really is just a great display overall. Now, another sacrifice when you go this thin is actual battery size. So you can make a thicker and heavier laptop with bigger battery in it, or you can make a thin and light one with a smaller battery. Of course, the one with the smaller battery has less battery life. 6-7 hours you'll get with this, 46 watt-hour battery. It's not as good as, say, its competition, but you got to remember, laptop, I would say 6-7 hours is still decent battery life considering how thin it is. But if you want that all-day battery life, you're going to have to go with something else. But it does charge fast. That's one good thing. And, you know, 6-7 hours, I mean, that's more than enough battery life for most people. And the performance, we know the performance of the 7th and the 8th generation CPUs. You will get maximum performance out of this. The CPU does not throttle. If you get the 8th generation option, battery life with both 7th, 8th generation is, you know, negligible. It's pretty much the same. Heat is pretty much the same. This doesn't throttle at all. It doesn't get overly hot. It's not overly noisy. And what you can do with this, you can edit full HD content. You can play casual games like your Minecraft, Football Manager, you know, Civilization. You know, if you put the settings low, you can play something like Overwatch if you went to, say, 720p low settings, and Counter-Strike as well. But it's not a gaming laptop, so you've got to keep that in mind. You wouldn't want to edit 4K content on this. Full HD is fine. It doesn't have a graphics card. The SSD, depending on which region, you will either get a SATA based SSD or you'll get a NVMe SSD. There is a big difference in read and write speeds, but generally you're not going to notice the difference in the real world. Now, considering this costs less than a MacBook Pro, it's thinner, it's lighter, it's much more powerful, has a larger display too. You cannot say anything but this is a superb laptop. The only downside is going that thin and light. The battery life is not as good as some of the other 13-inch laptops, but if you want that, extra bit of display there and you want that thinness and lightness, this still has good battery life, I would say. So you just got to weigh up whether you'll sacrifice a couple of hours battery life for that thinness and lightness compared to a MacBook Pro. Overall, it's a fantastic laptop. You'll be very happy if you buy it. I'd like to really thank you guys for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this video, and until next time guys, cheerio.